All right, it's gonna be a busy day. Today, I'm extremely ambitious. I've been working on the CBX. I showed you guys the video of painting all the bodywork. I'm not sure if you can see the front fender there, that's mostly covered in paper, but I got that installed earlier this week. And today, I have a long list of projects. This is one of those things where you get started on something and then it leads you to something else and something else and something else. I might have mentioned last time that I wanted to recover the seat and get that on. Now that all the bodywork's painted, I'm anxious to get the seat recovered and put the seat tail on. But I also have a new exhaust for this bike. It is a Delcovic replica OEM exhaust. And before I put that on, of course I have to take the old one off in order to get the new one on. And so before I did that, I wanted to clean up the engine. So yesterday, I spent a lot of time scrubbing. Of course, I had previously power washed it. And then yesterday, I kind of cleaned it up a little bit more, wiped it down with acetone, and actually did a little spray painting on it. So the engine is now pretty. And I have a little detail work to do. I'm going to pull the screws, bolts, cover bolts off on the right hand side and clean the paint off of those and then put them back in. It looks a lot better when you don't paint over the bolts. I have brand new OEM covers for the left and right side, the crank covers. I have a brand new OEM petcock. Let me tell you, searching for that yesterday was a lot of fun. Bought a lot of these parts years ago. This has been a long-term project because it's a personal project, and all my personal projects get put on a back burner while I do other things. And so we're finally getting this thing done. And as I was mentioning, yesterday went a little squirrel in different directions, painted the engine. And then I decided I wanted to paint the airbox too. And normally I probably wouldn't paint the airbox, but on this particular bike, someone seems like they went out of their way to make it look as terrible as possible. It was it looked like it had been painted red and then maybe black on top, and half of it was chipping and peeling, and it just looked awful. So that's why this looks like it does. It's got a primer on it, and I couldn't really get it done yesterday. It was just too late when I finally got to it after painting the engine. And so today I brought a heater into the front garage here where we're putting this thing together. We're going to heat it up, make it a little warmer in here so that paint dries faster. I'm going to sand all this stuff down. It's already pretty smooth. I've gotten rid of most of the bumps and chips and things from the old paint. And so we're going to get this looking really good. I'm going to smooth it out, get all those imperfections out of it, and then I'm going to paint it black, and hopefully it'll look really good. Again, I know painted airboxes, aren't original, and I'm sure some people are going to tell me how awful it is to paint the airbox, but yeah, it looks better than it did. Same thing with the motor. The crankcases on these things, I believe they were painted. If they weren't painted, then they were at least coated with something, because you can see it coming off. Maybe it was anodized, who knows. But, it's a lot of work to strip them completely down. And I'm not opposed to doing it if the motor is completely taken apart. But this motor was excellent. It was very healthy when I got the bike. And so I didn't see a reason to break it down. I really don't believe in rebuilding engines for the sake of rebuilding engines, and so I just scrubbed the heck out of it and painted it. And again, some people might not agree with painting an engine, but this is my bike, and it's going to look great. I don't ride them very often, and the funny part is, when you go to that extent and you rebuild a complete engine, it adds a lot of time, right? And so, so yeah, I painted the engine, I'm painting the airbox, and I'm gonna ride this thing. You know, it's gonna look good, and I'm gonna ride it. And that's the difference, right? You can spend forever working on things, trying to make it perfect. But a good friend told me a long time ago that perfect was the enemy of done. I wholeheartedly believe that. And you know, sometimes you want to take the extra time to make it perfect. Other times you want it done. And at some point you got to find the common ground between perfect and done. So today, really busy day. Not only am I going to try and finish painting the airbox, I want to install the exhaust, and I also would like to get that seat recovered and put all the bodywork on. So let's see what we can do. I've already been out this morning running some errands, and so you know it's already about 12 o'clock or so. Who knows? I hope we make it, and I will let you know. If not, we'll do a video another day and finish it. As I mentioned, yesterday was a squirrel day. Went in all kinds of different directions, doing different things. One of those things was replacing this helmet lock, and I wanted to be able to use the same key for the helmet lock and the gas tank, and now I can. This key and this lock set, actually, I bought for a totally different bike, but when I got this, it had an MGO ignition switch in it and no key. And I didn't want to use the MGO. I wanted to be able to have one key for the gas cap and the helmet lock. And so I started looking at the CB750 lock set that I got. And on the back of this are two screws that hold to the mounting plate. And the only difference between the helmet lock on the CBX and the CB750 is the mounting plate. So I was actually able to unscrew the lock itself and put the CB750 lock on, and it's identical to the CBX. Same thing with the fuel lock, the little strap that goes over the cap. I have that works with this key, and the ignition switch. So don't tell anyone, but my CBX has a CB750 lock set in it, but it's an original Honda key and it works for all three locks. This is the Delcovic, well actually this is the right side of the Delcovic OEM replica exhaust. I was really surprised to see that it came with these, and I'm tempted to use them, but I kind of like the originals. So I think they nickel coated these. It looks like chrome, but I think they use some sort of nickel coating. But either way, I like the original. So I think what I'm going to do, I've compared them. They are exactly the same, and I'm going to take these back and vapor blast them, make them look really nice. And I think I'd prefer to have these on the bike instead of those. They did actually come with all your collars to hold everything together, and exhaust gaskets too. So very complete kit. I'm quite impressed. It's great looking exhaust. Double walled, just like the original. You can see this one here, how it's double walled there. So very nice, great stuff. I'm guessing it's going to sound like an original. Well, you know, it's probably not going to have that F1 sound of Kirker, or some of these 6-in-1s that are real nice, for the 6 and the 6, right? The Pipe Master 6 and 6, probably not going to sound like that, but it's going to look very original, and I think keeping these original collars is going to help. More to come. Back at the Vapor Blaster now, and I just want to show, these really aren't that bad. They look pretty good. But we'll do a little before and after on this. So these are my 6 exhaust collars, the original collars, and I'll show them to you again once they come out of the blaster.
Here they are, fresh out of the vapor blaster. So if you compare that to the before, I'm always super impressed with the results of the vapor honing, vapor blaster, and you know, not bad for something I built. Altogether, I think that vapor blaster cost me maybe 400 bucks, and it does an amazing job. So, all right, on to the next project for today, and that is going to be seat brackets. So I'm going to take these to dry blaster, get all this old paint off of them, and I think I'm going to powder coat them. I think this is loose enough that it won't get stuck. So we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. I got all my seat brackets hung and ready to be powder coated. I'm using Eastwood's hot coat dual voltage system, and this has done everything I need to do. So I'm going to put on Eastwood's semi-gloss black, which to me looks like satin, but their satin black looks flat. So we're going to use a semi-gloss powder, and again the Eastwood dual voltage system, and we're going to make these black. I would record it, but I need two hands to do this, so sorry. I got the parts in the oven. They're going to bake on 450 for a few minutes while it flows out, and then 20 minutes at 400. Okay, while my seat brackets are in the oven, I'm going to work on covering this seat. So I've already kind of shaped this down a little bit, used a sander to kind of blend this in a little better than it was when I first put it together, and then we're going to smooth it out with this stuff, make it all look like one piece, and then we will put the cover on and staple it down. Let's get after it. There's the seat brackets after powder coating. Looks like they came out good, and they still move. So we are good to go. Go ahead and get these bolted on. I get the tail bolted on, and then we'll see about the little trim pieces. Alright, my seat's almost done. I got the strap on, I got the cover on, got the tail on, got all my hardware on. You can see the brackets down here and down here, they're all good. What I'm doing now are the trim pieces. So I have another CBX seat right here, and they came with these little trim pieces. So I have a new set, and I brought this out just to kind of see. You know, you don't really think about these holes while you're putting the cover on. If I was smart, I probably would have taken some marker and marked where they go, but I guess I'm not smart. So now I'm feeling around and trying to find where they go. So I found the rear ones and I've poked holes in it. You can see the hole here and the hole here. So I found those on both sides. Still got to do the front, and then and I need to polish these things. I thought they were supposed to be shiny, and they don't look very shiny. So I polished one of them, so that one looks good. That's a front one. So I need to polish the other three and then bolt them on. They have these tiny little screws that with the washers. It looks like the original ones were held on with these, I don't know what you call those. They're push something. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. You can let me know. But whatever the case is, these new ones came with bolts and tiny little nuts. So I will get them on. Hopefully these will be a little easier to find than the rear ones were, and keep moving. That's gonna do it for the seat. I got my trim pieces on and they look okay. That was kind of a challenge, but I found all the original holes and got them all in, and they look really good. Can't be happier with that. Well, I had to bring it out here and set it on the bike, because that's what you do when you get a part done. There she is. All right. I don't think I'm going to make my goal today. I did get the airbox painted, and I think it looks good. I wanted to get this exhaust put on, but it's getting late. I haven't had dinner yet, so probably going to call it for today, and we'll see what tomorrow brings.